What's going on, everybody? My name is Justin Godsey for the Football Source. We are now going overtime for Monday Night Football tonight between the San Diego Chargers and the Arizona Cardinals. We're going to be coming on here and making this the Football Source Goes Overtime. This is going to be our new podcast platform. We're going to try and make this a legitimate podcast. We're going to start making this as a web show. Going down the line, we're hopefully to transform it into more of a podcast. Once we get a legitimate staff, or I'm trying to have a writing staff and a video production staff. We also have Akeen McCall, who's going to be doing the college football blogs. I'm trying to keep him more into the college football and fantasy aspect of his part onto the website. I'll be coming on here giving some recaps, breaking news, etc. I'm also doing a lot of website work, so make sure you guys keep on tuning into that. But you know what? We're still trying to find some writers. We're still trying to find some more video producers. If you guys are interested in joining an excellent network for football, I'm talking all sorts of football: Canadian Football League, NFL, Arena Football League. We got you guys covered here. We got you guys covered here on the Football Source, and we're not going to sleep until you guys get the best coverage of football. We are your cure for your football addiction, ladies and gentlemen. So let's go overtime and talk about the San Diego Chargers and the Arizona Cardinals. I just got back from this game, and this game was really, really interesting. I was really much looking forward to it. I had bought these tickets 2 months in advance of this game. I'm just, eager just to watch these two teams play it out. The San Diego Chargers are coming off a loss against the Denver Broncos in this past NFL playoffs against the Denver Broncos in the AFC divisional round, and the San Diego Chargers need to, attack this season a little bit earlier. They don't have the greatest schedule. When you look into the past, San Diego's had that schedule where it seemed in their favor to win, but they always found a way to, just fall off on the deep end, and tonight was one of those nights. Their schedule ahead of them does not look good. San Diego did, come into this game a little bit too cocky, a little bit, too arrogant into this game, because when you look in the past between the Arizona Cardinals and the San Diego Chargers, San Diego has always had Arizona Cardinals number. I know during that time they did have a bad system for the Arizona Cardinals, changing quarterbacks from John Skelton to Ryan Lindley, who is now a member of the San Diego Chargers. It was just back and forth between these two, but San Diego always pulled out a dominating victory, and this was a time where San Diego fell off the deep end, and their fourth quarter defense has failed the team once again. We have seen this numerous times on Monday Night Football, back at Halloween with the Kansas City Chiefs, a couple of years ago. That was Phillip Rivers' problem for not holding on to the snap. San Diego on Monday Night Football has just not given them good graces. When you look into a couple of years ago against the Denver Broncos, the San Diego Chargers had a 24-point lead going into halftime. They come out and they blow that. Last season on Monday Night Football, San Diego always kicks off the season on Monday Night Football. Last year they faced off against the Houston Texans, which it was a good game. San Diego had an excellent first half. Came into the second half, their fourth quarter defense blew it again, and this happens again for the third or fourth straight year. San Diego's fourth quarter defense blows it big as the Arizona Cardinals win 18-17. Now, when you go deep into discussion about this game, I'm very disappointed, like I said, with the way the San Diego Chargers defense played in the fourth quarter. But I'm not only going to talk about that, I'm going to be talking about the great success of how San Diego was able to keep it close against the Arizona Cardinals. The Arizona Cardinals are also a team that's currently in the issues of trying to find consistency, minus the losses of Carlos Stanzi, who went to the Cleveland Browns, minus Tyrann Mathieu, who was scheduled to possibly play in this game. He was out 40 or 50% healthy by midweek, and then there was his doubtful rating went up to questionable, and then they decided to hold him out for the week and have him play next week against the New York Giants as they go on the road next week. But they also lost, Darnell Dockett. They also lost Darrell Washington. How does this team, fight through, the four guys who have really played dividends to their success last season? And, working with what they got, I had a lot of questions. So I decided to go with Phillip Rivers this week against the Arizona Cardinals. I was feeling a little bit confident in the way Phillip Rivers can play. He's coming off an excellent season last year, winning Comeback Player of the Year. Great excellence from Phillip Rivers. But you know what? This was a game where it's a slow start for the San Diego Chargers. The Arizona Cardinals, on the other hand, Carson Palmer coming off a year where he threw a handful of interceptions. That needs to be cut down, and he's off to a good start for that. So when you go into context about this game, the San Diego Chargers on the side of things, I like the way on how Phillip Rivers started pulling up Peyton Manning. Peyton Manning takes the time. He reads teams' defenses. He's not like, when you look at Phillip Rivers in the past couple of years, Phillip Rivers has been a quarterback to be, immediately come out of the pocket and just, go in formation. Tonight we saw Phillip Rivers actually actually walk up to his line on a constant basis every single play. He will read teams' defenses before he takes a snap, and that will only leave him about 5 seconds to snap the ball, including with the fans yelling in Arizona. It was a loud crowd tonight in Arizona. They really got under Phillip Rivers' skin, and you saw multiple, back and forth, 3 and outs on both sides in the first quarter alone. Arizona was able to get ahead of the Chargers after a very much back and forth game in the first quarter with a field goal by Chandler Catanzaro, if I'm saying that correctly, from Clemson. He's a rookie kicker who took over for Jay Feely. He was able to get Arizona Cardinals up with 12:42 left in the quarter. 6 minutes left into the quarter. It was all field goals. It was all field goals. 9 points to be determined in the second quarter with Phillip Rivers taking a drive down the field to get the San Diego Chargers into field goal range. Nick Novak having a relatively quiet game today, only having one field goal. Was able to tie it with 6 minutes left into the second quarter. There was no scoring in the first quarter. I apologize, but in the second quarter it was all field goals. Chandler Catanzaro, the rookie out of Clemson, was able to score again to end out the game. San Diego's defense, when it comes to ending in the final minute or so, their defense just clusters down and just completely fails on them. The Arizona Cardinals were a team that was driving. They had less than 30 seconds or 20 seconds to get a drive downfield. San Diego turned the ball over to them after taking the punt, and the Arizona Cardinals had to drive to get into some sort of points. They wanted to break away from the San Diego Chargers in the third quarter, so they were trying to go for a touchdown. But you know what? They were able to pull ahead with a 6-3 lead at halftime. Going into the third quarter, all San Diego. San Diego was just completely dominating the Arizona Cardinals in the third quarter, with Phillip Rivers continuing to show a lot of success. With the play calling, walking up to his line, making sure his entire offensive line is set. Who are they going to cover? And what's going to be going on. Malcolm Floyd caught a 6-yard touchdown pass from Phillip Rivers 11 minutes and 38 seconds into a couple minutes into it at the 11-minute and 38-second mark. San Diego pulls up 10-6, and then Ryan Matthews. This is the final scoring drive of the San Diego Chargers. On 3 plays for 29 yards, of Ryan Matthews scores a 20-yard touchdown run, and that pulls San Diego to a 17-6 lead in the third quarter. Going into the fourth quarter, this is where San Diego started having a lot of flaws. The offensive line for the San Diego Chargers was failing on him. Rich Ohrnberger, and when he threw that ball, the San Diego Chargers were able to pick off, were not able to pick off. They were able to get the ball back into a solid field position for a possible, to add, more, pain onto the Arizona Cardinals, a team that's just completely slipped everything away. So San Diego decides to go into drive, and all of a sudden, a botched snap, the ball goes over Phillip Rivers' shoulder, and Phillip Rivers had to run out and try to save that ball before turning the ball over. San Diego has had numerous times that has happened, and that really affects this team multiple ways. They cost them game, it cost them multiple games, and Rich Ohrnberger would have to take the fall for that one. So that had to get San Diego into the punt formation and turn the ball over, and Stephon Taylor, Carson Palmer in particular, continues to drive the Arizona Cardinals on a 10-drive play for 64 yards, a 4-minute drive. That gets San Diego, the scenario, the scoring down to 17-12. Stephon Taylor gets a 5-yard pass from Carson Palmer to win. Manti Te'o was actually in the end zone covering Stephon Taylor, and then all of a sudden he just blows the coverage, and that really affected San Diego's game set right there. So there's a lot of problems right there with Manti Te'o on his coverage. That affected the San Diego Chargers. Now, when it comes to the final minutes before going into the 2-minute warning, the Arizona Cardinals strike again with John Brown with the 13-yard pass from Carson Palmer. It was 11-play, 91 drive, another 4-minute drive, 91 yards in 4 minutes. The time has been, taken off the clock, and San Diego does not have enough time to really work with the clock with 2:25 left. So San Diego is left with the remaining time of the game, or a small window to try and get ahead of the Arizona Cardinals, but the defense for Arizona was just blazing. They brought the blitz against San Diego and Phillip Rivers, and multiple, incomplete passes, but when it comes to their fourth down play, Keenan Allen was covered by, I want to say, Antonio Cromartie or Patrick Peterson. It was one of the two, and then a ball was actually, snapped. It was Larry Foote actually, hit the ball in the air. Keenan Allen had a chance to catch this ball. It was clearly in his hands, and all of a sudden, Keenan Allen coming down with it, drops the ball, turning the ball over for San Diego and giving it to the Arizona Cardinals for them to complete this game with an 18-17 victory over the San Diego Chargers. Chargers, and that fumble, that bad snap by Rich Orenberger to Phillip Rivers, throwing that ball over his shoulder, that cost San Diego big. San Diego cannot rebound from that. That stadium was at loud. Phillip Rivers had a time where, he could have thrown 3 interceptions in this game. This game was that competitive. Both quarterbacks could have thrown a maximum of 3 interceptions for Phillip Rivers. 6 interceptions in whole could have been thrown tonight by Rivers and Carson Palmer combined. This game was just that good. The Chargers, minus the fourth quarter terrible defense, the San Diego Chargers defense from the first to the third quarter, it was actually really, really good. I've never seen the San Diego Chargers defense, so consistent for a 3-period game, 3 periods into this game, and be so consistent. Marcus Gilchrist was getting a lot of praise from me when I was in it. I was like, wow, Marcus Gilchrist is really, out of this world right now, doing a great job. The team shut down Larry Fitzgerald tonight. How many times can you say Larry Fitzgerald was shut down? Last season he was not shut down. He did have, a decrease in stats from years past, but you know what? This was a night where Larry Fitzgerald only had 1 reception for 22 yards, and that was, the numerous, changes in the way how they covered him. Jason Verrett had time against Larry Fitzgerald. Brandon Flowers, a newcomer from who's coming over from the Kansas City Chiefs. He's a newcomer to the San Diego Chargers, and they decided to put him up against Larry Fitzgerald the entire game because we all know what Larry Fitzgerald is all about. But Michael Floyd, I almost said Michael Taylor there. Michael Floyd got a big game today, 5 receptions for 119 yards. He was targeted 7 times, and he had some big plays, competing off against a very short Jason Verrett. Jason Verrett standing at 5'8", and Michael Floyd standing, he's a very tall wide receiver. I got to pull up his page real quick on ESPN so I know how tall he is. Standing at 6'3", wide receiver standing off against a 5'8" defensive back. Who's going to win that outcome? Obviously, tonight it was Malcolm Floyd, but Jason Verrett has shown a lot of poise when he's competing up against Larry Fitzgerald, so I can see a lot of success for Jason Verrett, commanding this defensive backs core alongside Eric Weddle coming into the near future. San Diego's defensive backs failed them in the second quarter, or not in the second quarter, the fourth quarter. I apologize. That's their only problem. That's their only weakness. I would like to see a lot more pressure on the wide receivers going up against this game against the Seattle Seahawks. There's a lot of questions there at how can they stop the offense of the Seattle Seahawks? How can they even compete against the defense of the Seattle Seahawks? The Legion of Boom, the linebacking core is stacked. The defensive line is just completely out of this world with Bruce Irvin leading the way. How can the San Diego Chargers do that? We'll just have to wait and see next week. But for the Arizona Cardinals, a team that just merely pulls away from this victory, just gets a victory, they get it at home, a much-needed victory to start off the year in this very clustered NFC West division. They're able to keep it close with the San Francisco 49ers. The St. Louis Rams lost this week against the Minnesota Vikings. This division is starting to show a lot of, a lot of competition. You see the top 3 power teams, the division that I've already said, the Arizona Cardinals could be a team that could possibly get a wild card. You also got to compete against the 49ers. You got to compete against the Seahawks. And the Arizona Cardinals got that much-needed victory tonight. Next week, they're on the road against the New York Giants. I think this is going to be another heavily favored Arizona Cardinals victory. The Giants tonight just did not bring it. Eli Manning is now, under a new system in New York. He did not play out, a 100% at all, throwing 2 interceptions against the Detroit Lions. The new system is currently failing on Eli Manning. He wished that he had the same system that he's played in years past. They brought over the former quarterbacks coach from the Green Bay Packers, who's worked with Aaron Rodgers. He is now being boosted up to the offensive coordinator in the New York Giants. Eli Manning is not getting the job done right now. Carson Palmer and the Arizona Cardinals squeeze out a victory, 18-17 over the San Diego Chargers. Like I said, the Cardinals are on the road next week against the New York Giants. San Diego is going to be at a homestand next week against the Seattle Seahawks. The 12th man, will they be coming down to San Diego to compete? We'll have to wait and see. A fan favorite. The fans were really into this. This is what makes football great. This is the best sport in all of America. The NFL is probably the greatest sports league ever because it's always about drama. You get this drama all the way around the NFL. You could come on here and really speak your mind. That's what I love doing, and that's coming on here and talking football with you guys. So needless to say, final score again: the Arizona Cardinals 18, the San Diego Chargers 17. My name is Justin Godsey for the Football Source. Thank you so much for tuning in to the TFS Goes Overtime. We will likely to have more people coming onto this show as the weeks come. But tonight, guys, it was just me going solo tonight. I'll see you guys next week as the Philadelphia Eagles are going to be on the road to Lucas Oil Stadium taking on the Indianapolis Colts for Monday Night Football. We'll be coming on here every Monday night to talk about the Monday Night Football, and I'm going to be talking about some news, rumors, and other results around the NFL as this podcast / show continues to grow. We'll hopefully make this into a podcast, and we can continue to go full throttle with this. Once again, my name is Justin Godsey for the Football Source. I'll catch you guys